All right, welcome to the first episode of Benchwarmers Radio, presented by We the People Sports. Go check them out at WTP Sports. So this is basically just like the WTP basketball podcast. I'm Tyler Miller. You can follow me on Twitter at Ty_Miller35. And I did like a basketball podcast with WTP last year, Park Ball Heroes, that is not going to be continued over to this year. Instead, we're going to be doing this show. This is my co-host, Dante. What's up?
What's up, man? I'm Dante at Dante on Deck on Twitter. Make sure to follow me for all Celtics news. This is my first actual podcast, so I'm pretty excited to get going. We kind of had we had a trial run last week. We'll call it a trial run, but this is gonna be our first episode, and let's get right into it. I mean, Jimmy Butler today. I mean, he had practice with the Timberwolves. Basically, just came in. Picked a bunch of third-string players and beat the crap out of Cat and Andrew Wiggins and called him out, all the coaching staff. It's just a whole nother part to this never-ending story, it seems like. I don't even know what's going to happen. Like,
He's going to start the season with him.
He should get traded. But, I mean, I don't know why they're holding on to him. It's like it's gotten to a point where it's kind of toxic, the whole relationship with him and him calling out the players and the coaching staff. I'm shocked that the owner at least hasn't pushed to get a trade through pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't even know where he can end up. Like
at this point, it's like I think I would just look to get rid of him and get the best offer you can. I mean, you're gonna get 50 cents to the buck.
Yeah, like the season's anyway. 6 days. There's no way. I mean, there is probably a way, but like you'd think he would be traded early. Like, is he gonna start the season with Minnesota, like playing with people he just called out time and time again? It's honestly one of an all-time like funny moves. I respect it so much, especially like I'm a huge Cat guy. Like he's my favorite like player in the NBA, not on the Celtics. Like huge Karl Anthony Towns guy. Like have everything ever since he came out of like Kentucky. So like I don't necessarily like that he's beefing with Jimmy Butler, especially because Towns is just so much better than Butler, and he just will have such a better career. Yeah. So it's just weird. I can understand beefing with like Andrew Wiggins because you could say underperformed in his career so far.
But. Yeah, I wouldn't call him a bust, but he is definitely underperformed. I mean, coming out of high school, Andrew Wiggins was the next Kobe, the next LeBron, this and that. And I mean, it's not that he's a bad player, but it's tough. Jimmy Butler, when he's calling you out, Jimmy Butler, like he's always been known as a workhorse, like a guy that's always going to work his ass off, give 110% every time. So, like with him calling these guys out, like you said, you're a huge fan of Cat. He's one of my favorite players in the NBA. I think he's a top 15, top 10 player even in the league, maybe. But for Jimmy Butler to call him out and stuff like that, like I don't know. I don't know what it says about those players, honestly, because it's like you don't. I can't not believe Jimmy Butler saying they don't work hard, but like. I don't know. It's a very weird situation.
He had a interview like 2 hours after the practice with, I think it was Rachel Nichols. And then she was like, "Are these true?" He's like, "Yeah, all of it's true." Like this is exactly what happened. I'm like,
did I do it the right way? Probably not. But I mean, like he was being truthful about it, I guess. And
like, Wiggins was literally called the Canadian like Air Jordan coming into this. Yeah, like, that's one of his nicknames. So just like I can see why he's mad at him. But I don't know. It's just that whole team.
I think there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that won't come out for a little while.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's like really the only news that kind of broke. The season starts in 6 days. We'll see what happens then. We'll see if Jimmy Butler's playing for the Timberwolves. But I think it was last week, just about the annual like NBA GM survey came out, and this is one of my favorite things of the year, just to see like. To see if last year's survey was at all correct, like in the slightest bit, and then just to see like kind of predictions for this year, and just something to talk about. So we're probably going to go through most of it. Like there's some, like I just don't care about like what do you think the top 4 teams are going to be like now. So every GM, just like a basic breakdown, gets the same survey. They get asked the same questions, and they just submit it to the league office, and then the results come out, and we just like open to fantasy. There's real nothing hidden. So for the first question was, which team will win the 2019 NBA Finals? And Golden State Warriors have an 87%.
Yeah. Shocking. Well, it's lower than 93 from last year. So
yeah, and then the only two teams that have a chance according to these surveys, these GVMs, are Boston came a second with 7%, tied with Houston for 7%. And those are the only three teams, I guess, that
that's the one teams are voting for. I mean, I can't really argue with that. I mean, Golden State's back-to-back champs. They should be ranked that high. Should be back-to-back if we're being quite honest.
Actually, 4 in a row, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can go on. I mean, the Warriors are the Warriors. They're the best team in the league. They should be where they are. But I'm happy that Boston and Houston did get at least a little recognition. I mean, maybe Danny Ainge gave Boston the vote.
Vote for yourself.
Or vote for ourselves or something. But I mean, it's not really arguable. I think it's pretty fair. It's pretty fair.
I do see the Celtics winning, but
that
could be biased. That could be biased because they're East Celtics.
I'll say the Celtics should be a little bit higher, but
I think 83-7. That's a little tough, but I think it's more 75-25 if anything, because the Celtics always play them close. Even in the regular season, you can argue that the Warriors don't try all that much in the regular season. And the Celtics are known to try too hard in the regular season. But by the time it gets to playoffs, they kind of ran out of steam. So I don't know. It could go either way, but I think 7% is way too low for Boston.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a starting point for now. As the season goes on, I'm sure. I mean, Boston coming out of the East, I mean, I don't know. Because if you think about it then, 93% to 7%, that's way lopsided. If it's a finals matchup, it'll be 60-40, I think. But that's for now. That's fine. I'll take that for now.
The next question. Sorry, I'm eating my dinner too. I had a busy day.
Yeah, no, it's midterms week, so I mean we're all.
I got that next week.
At least that's next week for you. No, dude, I got killed this week, but we're here now.
Who will win the 2018-19 MVP? We got LeBron coming in at 30%. KD, who will never, ever win an MVP as long as he's in Golden State, 27%. Anthony Davis, 17%. And Harden, 10%. And then just the basic people you think also received votes like Giannis, Curry, Kyrie, Kawhi, and Russ Westbrook.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron being number one, I mean, that should be a given. I mean, every year, I think he's been. There was a list that came out that was the best forwards, the best positional players in the MVP ranks, and he's been number one for so many years, or at least the best small forward. He should be number one. He's my number one. Who will win MVP next year? Just moving to the Lakers, I think he's gonna be so good to the young guys there. He's gonna make them a lot better. I mean, the record won't be that great, but considering where they were last year to this year, I think because when you think of MVP, you kind of think of how the wins from that team play into it. Even though the Lakers won't be a top seed in the West, or maybe even get not even 50 wins, you have to think of where LeBron took them last year to where they are now. So that's why and LeBron will put up great stats like he always does. So I like that. Kevin Durant, I don't understand why they always give him such a high percentage. Like you said, being on the Warriors, I just can't see anyone on that team winning an MVP award. Curry, Durant, anyone. It's just
he can take his finals MVPs, which I guess that's more important because you win the finals. But he's never just going to be the sole player. He'll probably win a few more MVPs in his career, just not with the Warriors.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, honestly, a sleeper pick for me would be Giannis to win MVP. Yeah. I think.
But the Bucks have to do well.
The Bucks are going to have to be a top 4 seed for sure. Top 4, top 3 seed. But, I mean, every year it's kind of we're thinking of when Giannis is going to not break out, because obviously he's broken out by now, but it's when is he going to give that MVP campaign season? And I think if you want to make the Bucks legit, if you want to make them look legit like a competitor, Giannis is going to have to go off and just make the Bucks one of the best teams in the East. And I think he's capable of that. I think he's got He's got enough tools around him. They just got Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, Brogdon, Bledsoe. They got a pretty solid team around him. Not a championship team, obviously, but I think he can make a run for MVP if the Bucks are good enough. I think he'll put up godly stats, honestly. But he's my sleeper to win it this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is Davis's year to win it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Just because last year he had like the best like month, but nobody talks about it. I remember I think it was February.
Yeah, it was January, February.
Maybe because of like a short month, like legitimately, but also because of the All-Star break. But he was putting up like 54 for like I think it was like 50 points in like 4 straight games.
He was going off, and he shot up. I remember he wasn't really an MVP. He wasn't considered, and then he jumped up to like top 3. It was insane.
I consider him the 3rd best player in the league, behind like LeBron and KD, obviously. But like MVP doesn't mean best player in the league.
No,
like, LeBron,
it doesn't. No,
like LeBron's obviously the best player. Like I hate LeBron James. He's like my least favorite player in the NBA. Like I just can't stand the dude. But he's obviously the best player in the entire league. And then, like if Russ Westbrook's going to win for getting a triple double 2 years ago, and then lose after averaging a triple double this past year, like. What do we do? It's like the best player for that season. I don't like that's what it means. But
it's like the best player of the season. But like no, like if you're giving the award to the best player, LeBron James would have 10 MVP awards by now, if not more than that. So you can't really take it much. I mean, when you win an award, like so much has to play an effect. Like an injury could affect your chances of winning it. Your like how good your team is. Like there's so many different things that get involved in it. But in some circumstances,
whatever is valuable is considered to you or whatever. It's
like James Harden last year, like the Rockets were the 2nd best team, the team that was best, that had the best chance of beating the Warriors. And he put up at least he had put up high 20s or low 30s a game, so he had a great season. But like, he's not better than LeBron James. But
yeah. Anyways, next question is, if you were starting a franchise today and you could sign any NBA player to start it, what would it be? Last year's winner was Karl Anthony Towns. He got 29%.
Not even on the list now.
Karl Anthony Towns is no longer. I do not know why. Like he had the best season of his career, but he's just not on the list anymore. Like what?
Yeah, weird.
Whatever. But Giannis came in first with 30% of the votes. Anthony Davis 23. KD with 20, LeBron is 17, which he shouldn't be on. Like I don't care. Like
that's very
he's
weird.
Good. He's
just 33-year-old.
If you're gonna start a franchise, whatever.
Yeah.
Steph 7 and Embiid 3%.
Same with Curry. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like the top 3 there. Cat, I don't know why he's not on the list. But having guys like James and Curry, I don't know.
You see people like
start your guys with. I mean, Kevin Durant's. Was Kevin Durant 28, 29? Like he's not too old. He's not young. He's not insanely old. Like that's fine. But LeBron being 33, Curry is in his early 30s. Like I don't know the logic behind that, but I guess I mean I agree with Giannis being at number 1 and Anthony Davis.
I think he's the obvious 2 choices. But going back to Karl Anthony Towns, he literally does the exact same numbers as Shaq in his early seasons, and you add 100 threes.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's knocking like, oh, he can't play defense. I'm like. You know who else couldn't play defense is Shaq? Like he had like obviously like highlight plays, but he was known as an offensive center. Exactly what Karl Anthony Towns is.
Yeah, I know. Karl Anthony Towns just has he's so young and he just has so many tools in his arsenal. It's just
Tibbs got to get out of there though. Like.
Tibbs is ruining that franchise, man. I 1 year in and you kick Butler out of town and Towns signed his extension, but him and Wiggins, like God knows what's going through their minds now.
Especially if the Timberlake Bull thing is still.
Oh, I know. It's signing Luol Deng. Like, yeah, we're gonna surround you guys with talent. We'll give you Luol Deng and maybe Joakim Noah.
2007.
Yeah, no, I don't know what he's doing, and he plays them like 40 minutes a night, so he's running them into the ground. By the time they made it to the playoffs last season, they were burned out. Dead. I mean, now I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs this year. So
I hope so. Actually, I'm not even a Timberwolves fan. I'm just a Cat fan. So like,
I know.
Kind of killed me because I wanted him out of Minnesota. But whatever. Which player forces opposing coaches to make the most adjustments? LeBron came in first with 60%. It's really no surprise because the dude can do everything. The fact that James Harden came in second with 20% kind of. I mean, maybe because he just dribbles literally the ball for like 20 seconds of the 24 seconds and then gets like a free throw. he just doesn't really do anything out of the ordinary. Like the only thing out of the ordinary he does is dribble the ball out and draw a foul.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got to make adjustments when you have a guy that's traveling and you got to cover him up. You see that video of him that is behind the back? Yeah, the NBA ruled it. No, it's not a travel. It was a gather set. Watch the video. Watch the video. That I don't like that. But no,
I'm not a Harden guy either.
I don't force his opposing coaches to make most adjustments. I mean, if we're gonna be honest with you, LeBron James probably should get like 80% of that vote, and then like fill
Steph
it out.
Came in third with 10, which makes sense because the dude can just shoot threes. Like he can just ball literally anywhere in the court.
Steph, KD, AD, fine with that. James Harden is, he's iffy at number 2 for me. Very iffy at number 2.
Yeah. Which players most likely have a breakout season? Jamal Murray came in first. I like this answer. Like 20%. And then you got Jason Tatum and Brandon Ingram tied for 10%. Then a whole slew of people for 4%.
DeJounte Murray off that list, unfortunately. R.I.P. I like Jamal Murray being at number 1. I really did like that's I'm a fan of the Nuggets. I really like that team. They're really young. They got IT. I think we talked about that last week. I like IT on that team coming off the bench. I think they're equipped to make a strong push to go into the playoffs and I mean potentially maybe win a depending on who they play.
Yeah, but they missed it by a game last year, right?
Yeah, I mean Paul Millsap was also hurt like the second half of the year, so they were dealing with that. I think they're a playoff team in my eyes, 100%, and I think depending on their matchup, they can win the first round. So, and Jamal Murray is a huge part of that team, being their point guard, can shoot, can pass the ball really well, plays good defense. I like that as number 1. And Ingram and Tatum, that's fair. Ingram playing next to LeBron this season, you can assume that him and Kuzma, I mean, they should have breakout seasons. And then Jason Tatum coming off of the playoffs. I mean, it's fair to assume that he's gonna keep on going and have a breakout season.
I don't understand why Kawhi's on this list. It's
I mean,
there's no real breaking out when you're a 2-time defensive player of the year. You're finals MVP.
He's enough to his name where he doesn't have to be like.
Breakouts like people start to learn your name. Like
if he I can see him putting up 25 points a game this year. That's not considered a breakout because he averaged like around that when he was healthy. So I don't get that. That's very weird.
Yeah. Other than that, it's just kind of second year plays.
Yeah.
And the rest best point guard in the league, Steph, won by like 40%. And then Steph, Russ, Kyrie, and Chris Paul tied, and then James Harden. Sure, I guess you can call him a point guard. He also won the best shooting guard in the league with James Harden getting 73%, then Clay, then Steph. Best small forward, we got LeBron, then KD, then Giannis, kind of like everyone really expected.
Yeah.
Those three will just be trading the All-NBA first-team spots. Best power forward, Anthony Davis, LeBron, and KD, Giannis, LaMarcus Aldridge, sure. And then best center, Anthony Davis once again, and then you get Joel Embiid. Then you get Karl-Anthony Towns.
Only 7%. Yeah, I know. I don't understand how they can put players in 2 different positions, like Anthony Davis winning power forward and center. I don't know.
He's just the best big guy.
He is the best big man. That's weird.
I think he's a power forward, but like
I'd consider him a power forward, absolutely, yeah. But I mean, he played some center before DeMarcus came, and he might play center with Julius Randle there now. So I guess it makes sense.
Other than that, there's nothing really wrong with those.
Yeah, I mean, the only one, you can kind of put it towards a bias, but for point guards, I think Kyrie is the second best point guard in the league, and I'm going to say that because I think Russell Westbrook is a phenomenal athlete, and he's incredible. Like, I'm not taking anything away from him, but if we're talking about a point guard, like a guy that facilitates the ball, runs the team, like the floor general, I'd probably put Kyrie above him. But it's those 3, Curry, Westbrook, and Kyrie. Those are kind of like that should be everyone's top 3. Like, you can kind of mix and match those, but that's just my personal opinion. But that's fair.
The next 2 questions might be the most obvious questions on this entire survey. It's which team made the best overall offseason moves, and It's obviously the Lakers. Like, if you get the best player in the entire league, it's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good, yeah.
And which one player will make the biggest impact? With a 97%. LeBron James.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean,
Kawhi came in
nothing
second.
surprising there. That's the way it should be.
Whopping 3%. Which was the most underrated player acquisition of the year? Tyreek, I forgot he even went to Indiana, but Tyreek Evans came to Indiana, 13%. These are all kind of close. You got DeMar DeRozan going to San Antonio, 10%. Jabari Parker, Chicago, 10%. Julius Randle, New Orleans, 10%. Dennis Schroeder, 10% going to OKC. And then
Trevor Ariza.
Yeah, Trevor Ariza going to Phoenix, 7%. DeMarcus Cousins, 7% for Golden State. And IT going to Denver. Also 7%.
Yeah, that list is pretty close. I think that's fair. I mean, everyone has you have a case for everyone. I mean, Tyreek Evans was a baller on the Grizzlies last year. Now he's going to be on a good team in Indiana. DeMar DeRozan, probably going to be the one or two guy in San Antonio, should be one, I think. Jabari, if he stays healthy, could be huge for Chicago. Julius Randle next to AD. And Dennis Schroeder, he gives the Thunder something that they didn't really have last year, and that's depth. I think he's a starting point guard, so I think him coming off the bench, he can kind of control that offense, and I think he could put up pretty solid numbers. So that's a pretty solid. Everyone's kind of close, so I like that.
There's wonder if player resigning went into this at all, because if it does, then Paul George should have won. Like, nobody expected Paul George.
Yeah, that could be another one too, for sure. Yeah, everyone was thinking that there was going to be a period where he would visit teams or something, but he just did it right away.
Yeah,
back to OKC. So yeah, I guess not. I guess they just do well, I mean, yeah, no, I guess they just do new players.
Which team will be the most improved team going into the season? Again, Lakers 80%. Dallas and Phoenix also getting some votes, 7% apiece. I don't really like Dallas. And this could be like biased because I just played with them in 2K and they were just terrible. But they have no score.
Yeah, I like Doncic. I really like Doncic, but that's not enough for me to think that they're gonna make a run at anything. I was reading, I think it was Greeny from Barstool that covers the Celtics, and he was talking about Rookie of the Year, and he said Doncic, if the Mavericks make a playoff run. They're not going to make a playoff run. I'm sorry, any Dallas fans or whatever, but they're young. Dennis Smith Jr. and Luka Doncic are going to be a phenomenal backcourt in the future. They're just not going to lead the Mavericks to a playoff spot in this Western Conference. That's just, it's not happening. It's not happening.
What was the most surprising move this offseason? This also another close one.
Mm-hmm.
First place obviously kind of goes to DeMarcus Cousins, Golden State. I just remember that day. I just got out of my car and I saw a Bleacher Report notification. It's 1 year, $5 million. DeMarcus Cousins. There was zero talk about that at all.
I think I was at the gym when that happened, and I saw the tweet from his agent that it said something like. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was something big is happening. So everyone was kind of on edge, oh, what does that mean? Does it have to do with DeMarcus Cousins? And then he just signs with Golden State. What the hell? Then $5 million. Aaron Baines is making more money this year than DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah.
Aaron Baines is making more money this year than DeMarcus Cousins.
Ian Mahimney.
It's a bunch of random people. You can list so many players that are worse than DeMarcus Cousins that are making much more than him. If it's true that no other team really offered him anything and he wants a chance to come in and win a ring and prove himself that he's still one of the best centers in the league, sure. But I don't know. It's just one of those things where the rich get richer, and it's the Warriors they're already locked to make the finals again and probably win it all again. Now they just add DeMarcus Cousins, and it's just gonna be a headache for a lot of teams. He's not gonna be back until later in the year, but it's still come on, come on.
What else are you gonna do there?
Exactly.
Kawhi came in second, going to 29%.
Pretty fair. I
again, zero talks going into that one.
These teams that you thought that were gonna trade for him. like the Lakers obviously being number one, and then you heard some stuff with the Celtics, but the Celtics are always involved in rumors for superstars. But then out of nowhere, the Raptors, the Vegas said the Raptors had their odds went up, and then before you knew it, overnight, it was like 2 a.m, I think, they tweeted it. I remember waking up and looking at my phone saying he got traded to Toronto, and I was like, after all of that, he got traded to Toronto, like out of all the places.
There's no noise around it.
Yeah, exactly. It was just out of the blue. I mean, I guess it works. I mean, the Spurs got rid of Kawhi and they got a superstar back, and the Spurs got an upgrade because Kawhi Leonard is better than DeMar DeRozan when he's healthy. So, I mean, that good trade for both sides, but it was pretty surprising. Yeah.
Who will win the Rookie of the Year? Doncic comes in with 43%, then Marvin Bagley and Wendell Carter 17, 8 and 13.
I'm kind of surprised Doncic got that much of a vote. I have him being my number one. Don't get me wrong, but yeah. There's just so many good rookies this year. Like,
I think it's gonna be Sexton, to be honest.
Like Sexton, of course. Like, he can make an argument. Like Doncic, Ayton, Bagley, Sexton, Wendell Carter. I think Miles Bridges can make a case. Kevin Knox in New York. There's so many guys. Like, and we said this for MVP. Like, scenario, like different scenarios that could happen. And with Rookie of the Year, it doesn't really matter more of like the wins on your team. It's kind of more of the stats because you're a rookie. So, I mean, like any of these guys can go off. Like I can see Sexton going off. I can see Kevin Knox going off, especially if Porzingis isn't going to be back for a while. And obviously,
Sexton just has the one reason I think like Sexton is going to win it is because like there's nobody like Cleveland has a lot of good role players.
Yeah, no, he'll be their number 2.
Yeah, but I think he's easily the most athletic person on that team. He has like that mentality, that like Marcus Smart mentality in a way. Like,
oh no, I'm coming. He does not care who's in front of him. If you're not on his team, he will go at you. He will attack you. He has that mentality. He has that killer mentality, which I really like, and that's why. I mean, he didn't really even get. He was also receiving votes. I'm surprised he didn't get more than that. But no, I mean, there's so many guys that can make that case, and we'll see when the season starts. We'll just see how that goes out, how that works.
Who will be the best rookie in 5 years? DeAndre Ayton and Jaren Jackson Jr. came in first, 27%. Doncic 17, Bagley and Knox 13, then Wendell Carter with 3. I mean, last year Josh Jackson won it, but I looked earlier, like the player who they thought was gonna be the best player in 5 years was Victor Oladipo, and in second place came Giannis or something like that. Or second place came Kelly Olynyk. And like, Giannis came out of nowhere. He's obviously was drafted 5 years ago, so he's obviously the best player. So I mean, like, they weren't too far off with Oladipo, so maybe Ayton and Jackson will be the best 2 in 5 years, but we can't tell.
No, you can't tell now. I mean, there's so many things that play a part in that. Like, God knows what God knows what happen, where we'll be in 5 years, and these guys. But DeAndre Ayton's a safe bet. I mean, he's a man. I mean, he's just
his preseason numbers are crazy.
Yeah, like he's just built to be a really good NBA big man. Like, that's just how he's built. That and the Suns, he's going to be their number 2 guy behind Booker. I mean, he's going to get the touches. He's going to get his shots. Jaren Jackson, I actually really like that he's tied for 1-2 because although I can't see him breaking out into being like an all-star or like anywhere near a superstar, I think he can be a solid starter for your team every year. I think he can do what he has to do. He can shoot. He can get rebounds. He can block. He can do a little bit of everything, and I think that's really important for any team to have, obviously. And for Memphis, I mean, he's really their only bright future right now. I mean, I don't know what they have going for them in Memphis, but I like Jaren Jackson. I really do like him.
Which rookie will be the biggest steal where they're selected? I like the winner of this. I like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Clippers. Electric point guard at Kentucky. Then how do you say this name? Svia
Mikulic or something like that.
I know who he is. Like I know his face. I just don't know his name. Wendell Carter at 7, Michael Porter Jr. at 14, Gary Trent at 37.
How does DeAndre Ayton get a vote?
That's what I was looking at. I was like, DeAndre Ayton was the first pick.
Same with Doncic too, kind of. I I don't get
maybe
that.
people saw Doncic going second or first, and
yeah, maybe. But DeAndre Ayton at number 1, you can't
you have
get
the exact first
steal.
pick.
It's not a steal. That's making their smart pick.
You could choose anybody. Like, there's not like he has no chance of getting selected before.
That's so funny. Yeah, I like a Svi. I'm not even gonna try his last name, but I heard a lot of good things. I heard a lot of good things from him from the Lakers camp. Being at 47, I mean, that kind of puts you in the position to be a steal right away.
Not one.
And same with I Gary Trent too. Michael Porter at 14. I think Michael Porter, if he was fully healthy, I think he would have been a top 5 pick. So him going to 14, really low. Gary Trent being at 37, he can shoot pretty well. I mean, who knows? I mean, that's what you need to be good at in the NBA now, is a good shooter. And being in Portland, maybe it could work out. Yeah, I can't confirm. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty solid list. Shy, how do you say
Gilgeous
Alexander. Yeah, no, that's a good pick too. He's a sleeper.
Yeah. Dennis Smith Jr. won last year. What is he? The 4th pick, I think.
He was the 5th pick.
5th.
Yeah, something around like that.
He's good. Obviously, Kuzma was probably that winner, but like, you're making a prediction. Like, most people are wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Best international player in the NBA. Giannis won by a lot.
Away with that one.
Giannis, Porzingis, Doncic hasn't played a single second,
and tied with Jokic.
Marcus Gasol, sure.
Yeah, no, Giannis really ran away with that one. I mean, him and Porzingis should be the top 2 guys. I mean, Porzingis, if he was healthy, probably would be a little bit higher. But yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Is he starting this season?
No, I don't think he's coming back until earliest Christmas, I think.
I was gonna say, because his ACL has to be like 1.5 feet long. Like,
yeah,
it's gotta be like.
Yeah, no, I think
he's 7'4".
Gonna be gone for a little while. That's why too, with Rookie of the Year, like Kevin Knox can make a run if Porzingis is gonna be out for a while. But yeah, no, he'll be out for a little bit. Sucks for Knicks fans.
Best international player? No, I don't care.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna do that. RJ Barrett. Hold on. RJ Barrett got that. You can vote for college players. What?
Yeah, I think that's just like not in the NBA part.
Oh wow, total wow. Okay, well that's good to know.
Yeah, he's what, Canada?
Yeah, he's from Canada. So I guess.
Best defensive player in the NBA. We got a tie for first with Rudy Gobert and Kawhi. And Draymond, Anthony Davis, and KD. I like that KD got in the votes.
I do too, because he's pretty underrated. I think he puts up a steal in the block at least a game. I'd say more than that, but it's at least one for each. I'm happy he did get that vote too, because he's a pretty underrated defender. But I'm also happy Kawhi got recognition too, being tied at number 1 with Gobert, because he's the best on-ball defender in the NBA. He shut down, well, not shut down, but he's the guy that he's the reason why the Spurs won the championship a couple of years ago. Like, his defensive job on LeBron James, like, no one else could guard LeBron like Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard could arguably guard anyone in the NBA and do a pretty good job at it. And Rudy Gobert, one of the best shot blockers in the league, should be number 1. But I'm pretty happy Kawhi's getting that recognition, because I think he's going to come back this year and he's just going to go right back to where he was, being a top. I think personally he'll be an MVP candidate. He'll be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I think he'll just jump right back into it. So,
all right, we're going to jump down to most versatile defender in the NBA. And the fact that one person is not on this list makes me kind of upset. Winner is Draymond Green, gets 53%, sure. Kawhi, 30%, LeBron, 7%. Also receiving votes, you got Giannis, Jimmy Butler, and Marcus Smart. Oh, I didn't even know he was on that list. The fact that Al Horford is not in the top 3%. He criminal. In the playoffs went from guarding Giannis to Ben Simmons to some LeBron to like Kevin Love to literally he guarded the best player on each team, and they all play different positions. And he's not even a top 3, and he defends well. He's an unbelievable defender. He like puts the beats on Embiid whenever he's like against him 1-on-1. It's so like he's the least respected player in this entire league.
Exactly. He does not get nearly the much respect as he deserves. He should be on this list. He's one of the best defenders in the league just because of everything he does on ball in the post. I mean, he's just a smart player. Like, he just knows where he's supposed to be. He makes adjustments. And I don't know. He's just always slept on. So that's not surprising, I guess.
So we'll just run through these coach things. A lot of them are specific. Just the best coach, Brad Stevens, won over Pop this year.
And
Pop went from 82% to 30% this year.
Well, I guess that's what happens when your whole team falls apart in a year, basically. Hopefully, I'm hitting at 30%. I mean, I think they'll still make the playoffs. They'll be fine. But Brad Stevens, I mean, it's criminal that he hasn't won a Coach of the Year yet. And I'm not saying that as a Celtics fan. Just like every year he's been in the league, he's just gotten better. And you look at the rosters he's had and what he's done with those rosters, like, it's just incredible. He's so deserving of the team he has now, having all these good players. Like, he can finally have a couple superstars and just have a great season. I'm hoping that he wins it this year because he sure as hell deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, Dwayne Casey winning last year, sure. Like,
yeah, I didn't like that. I mean, they were the best team in the East, but he got fired. He got fired
minutes after the season ended.
Like, come on, man! You're gonna give the Coach of the Year to the guy that just got fired? Like,
especially like all the Boston people got hurt last year.
Oh yeah, I know.
What active player will make the best head coach someday? Chris Paul won with 25%. CJ McCollum, Jameer Nelson, Rondo, and Garrett Temple all getting 7%.
A lot of receiving votes.
I can't see Steven Adams got a vote. What?
Yeah.
I can't see Rondo being a good head coach. I can see him being a good GM.
Mm-hmm.
I just he has that mentality. He's like, why can't you do this? Because I can still do this at like X years old. And you can just get so just mad at people.
Yeah, no, Rondo's kind of a dick.
I mean,
no, I don't know. I mean, maybe he can be like a coach, like an assistant coach, kind of like how Steve Nash is on the Warriors. Like, he can just kind of help with the guards
Ichiro, and stuff. Like Ichiro for the Mariners, he was like coaching but also doing some playing.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Like, you don't have to be like, he doesn't have to have a coaching position. You can just be at the practice. Even Tim Duncan, he goes to the Spurs practices and he helps them out and stuff. So like, he can do something like that. I can see that. But Chris Paul, I mean, he was 39% last year. I mean, he'll probably be the top choice every year. I mean, Chris Paul is just a basketball wizard, so it's not shocking.
Kind of some of these last few miscellaneous ones. What team's the most fun to watch? Golden State was 60%, Boston 17%, and then Houston and Philly was 7%. So probably just the top 4 teams in the league.
Yeah.
Which team has the best home court advantage? Golden State gets 50, which is like, it's Boston. Like, this also matters. But like, I've gone to I go to probably 4 or 5 Celtics here, and every single time,
listen, guys,
against the Bulls or against the Nets or whatever, and it's always packed. People are always cheering. It doesn't matter. The answer is Boston.
For the people that are listening, like, we're both Boston Celtics fans. That's pretty obvious at this point. We might have a little bias in what we say, but when I tell you Boston has one of the best home court advantages in the league, like you said, I've been to games where we played the Timberwolves. It was Kevin Garnett's last year. He didn't even play. It was a blowout. We beat them by 25-30 until the very end. Everyone was there cheering, let's go Celtics, this and that. I mean, Al Horford literally said one of the main reasons he signed with Boston was because in the playoffs when we lost to the Hawks, the Boston Celtics fans were still there chanting for the Celtics. Like, the Celtics fans are there till the end. Like, they love their team, and I don't care what you say. If you come to Boston, you're playing us, you're gonna have a tough time because our crowd gets behind us and they can rattle you. So the fact that they were just also receiving votes, that's stupid. That's stupid.
Which player is? I'm just looking at this now. Actually, the best pure shooter. The top 3 were Steph, Clay, and KD. So shocking.
Yeah, I'm happy Kyrie got thrown in there, but yeah,
1 vote.
Yeah, probably Steph, Curry, Clay, KD. Yeah, that's fair.
Most athletic, Russ wins that. Giannis comes in second. LeBron. Best passer, which bench player? Best bench player, I guess, is really award is. It's like what bench player makes the biggest impact when he enters the game.
Sixth man, I guess.
Lou Will, Eric Gordon, Iguodala, and then Rozier and Smart tied.
If we're going to talk about sixth man, I mean, if Lou Will's coming off the bench, I mean, that's fair because he just has the green light to shoot. I mean, he's a top 15, top 20 scorer in the NBA off the bench. So, I mean, that's perfectly fine. Eric Gordon being on the second best team in the NBA last year. I think Terry Rozier is going to make a huge jump this year. I think he's going to be a top sixth man of the year candidate. But that's pretty. Marcus Smart at 7%. I'm happy he got some recognition because he makes a big impact off the bench. Maybe people don't see a lot of highlights of him really. Like, he's not a scorer. He's not going to shoot lights out, but just his presence. It's just one of those things that you have to just watch to really understand.
I'd also rather have like Marcus Smart and Rozier. They you have two people on this list as opposed to one.
Yeah.
Sure. Like,
yeah, I mean,
41%, 20%.
I don't know if I'd have Iguodala at least at 3 because I don't know. He's getting older. Yeah, his role on that team is getting lower and lower. Like, I don't know.
Who's the toughest player in the NBA? Steven Adams won. No complaints. I'm a huge Steven Adams.
Yeah,
I love Steven Adams. LeBron came in second and tied with Marcus Smart with 13 and 13%. And then Draymond and James Johnson. The only correct two answers on this were Steven Adams and James Johnson.
Yeah. I don't know.
If Nene is still in the league, he has old man strength right now. Like, he is absolutely one of the toughest people. Like, Aaron Baines. Oh, he got votes. Aaron Baines is absolutely one of the toughest people in the league.
Jimmy Butler. I mean, after hearing what he did at practice today, I mean, yeah, you have to consider him one of the toughest players.
I mean, I don't hate Marcus Smart getting it, but he's just not like. There's a lot of tough people in the league.
Yeah,
I just don't think he's one of the top.
I get what you're saying.
Tony Allen, even.
I understand. I'm pretty happy Steven Adams got number 1 because Steven Adams is sick.
When he was asked about it, he just like, oh, cool. Like, I don't care.
Do I get more money? Do I get a raise or something like that? No, he's great. I'm happy. I like that pick. But yeah, I mean, this list is kind of. I feel like the people that are under also receiving votes, I feel like those people are more worthy of being in the top 5 than some of those guys.
Yeah. All right, last question, then we'll just do one more thing. We'll wrap it up. Which player would you want taking a shot with the game on the line? KD won with 40%. Steph Curry with 27%. LeBron, Kyrie, then Harden. Steph Curry won last year with 55% and
dropped to 27.
It makes so much
sense.
Well,
I mean, he's like Kevin Durant.
Yeah, KD is Steph Curry, except like 7 inches taller. Like, I'll just take that option then.
Yeah, I know. I'm LeBron being at number Kevin Durant, Steph Curry 1 and 2, perfectly fine. LeBron James, I mean, he's one thing that he's always been shit on for like his early career was that he wasn't really clutch. He couldn't step up in the big moments. But I mean, I think as he's gotten older and stuff, like last year, he's had, I don't know how many game winners he had, but he had a couple. He's proven himself. He's proven himself as being one of the clutcher players that we've even seen in the NBA. So I mean, he should get more recognition for that. And Kyrie, James Harden. I mean, those really are the 5 guys. I guess that would be it. But
so to wrap this up, we're gonna do kind of our own predictions with the season starting in less than a week. So who do you got winning MVP this year? I think we kind of hinted at it earlier.
Yeah, MVP, I'm going to stick with LeBron being at number 1, but then I have Giannis. I think he can definitely make a run at making a case for MVP, but LeBron's my pick.
Anthony Davis, because I just want him to win it. And like, he's a freak athlete, so he's like very good at basketball, and especially considering it's a contract year. Like, his contract ends this year, so he's going to want to value himself the most. Like, just make the most money you like humanly can. Like, if you come off an MVP season, you're going to make so much more money. Who do you got for Rookie of the Year? I think you said Doncic earlier.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year. Doncic is going to be my number 1, but there's just so many guys that could win it.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned I had Sexton earlier for reasons.
Yeah, Doncic is my favorite guy in this draft, so I'm going to stick with him. But there are so many guys that you can make the argument for.
Who you got winning Defensive Player of the Year?
Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to give Anthony Davis the nod, honestly. I think
won last year.
Gobert won it last year. Yeah. I think the top three were who at the top three? It was Gobert, Embiid, and Davis. Was it Davis? It was either Davis or okay. Yeah. I mean, Anthony Davis is just a freak athlete. He can average 2-3 blocks a game. He's incredible. I mean, I there's only so much you can say. So I'm gonna go with him.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably stick with I like Embiid. I shouldn't because I'm a Celtics fan, but I defended him so much last year that I can't hop off the wagon now just because I'm a Celtics fan. So I'm definitely gonna pick Embiid.
That's fair.
Coach of the year, I'm hoping Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens, yeah. I mean, the only two other guys I can see taking it from him are Quinn Snyder and Greg Popovich, or maybe Steve Kerr. I mean, Steve. I mean, yeah. I mean, Brad.
He's Utah, right?
Yeah, Utah. I mean, it's just Utah has a lot of potential. I mean, he was a candidate last year for it. But I mean, Brad Stevens, like we said earlier, I think it's time for him to win a Coach of the Year award.
We got most improved player.
Most improved. I'm going with Markelle Fultz. Because
I mean, there's nothing.
I mean,
is he a rookie this year?
No, he wouldn't be a rookie because if you play at all, remember Julius Randle? Remember when he broke his leg? He played, so that was his Rookie of the Year campaign. I mean, obviously, Fultz. I mean, we don't really have much to go off of him on the court. Yeah. But if we're gonna go off of where he was last year,
holding him back, though.
Yeah, if we're gonna talk about where he was last season to being a starter this year and he puts up numbers. I think it'll be pretty respectable to give it to him.
I can see Zach LaVine winning, to be honest.
Zach LaVine, yeah. I can see that for sure. I think Jabari Parker, too. He's another super guy. If he stays healthy. Because when he's healthy, he can put up 20 and 10. I really do think he could. I mean, I think he put up 20 and 8 before he tore his second ACL. So I mean, it's not like it's a crazy prediction, but yeah, no, Zach LaVine. I mean, that doesn't really have anything to do with most improved player, but that Bulls team is, if they're young, but if they stay healthy and it works, that could be a sleeper team.
Yeah, for sure. And then we'll just wrap it up with playoff predictions, seedings. For the East, for my 1 seed, I got the Celtics. How about you?
Celtics.
Second seed, I got Toronto.
I'm gonna go with Philly because I think.
Yeah.
Although I think Toronto is going to be good, I think Philly is just they already got their group, they have the chemistry and stuff. I think they'll be number 2, but if number 3, I'll put the Raptors.
Yeah, I'll put 3 for Philly too, and then 4, I got Wizards.
Wizards, I think.
Last year, the only problem they had was they just didn't try against bad teams. They would play up to the level of their opponent. That's why they lost so many early games against so many bad teams.
I mean, if they stay healthy and they get everything to work, I think they could be a top team. But I'm going to go with Indiana, honestly, because Victor Oladipo, I think, is going to have another huge year. Tyreek Evans, I mean, I forgot he went to Indiana. I think now that I know that, I think he is going to be good on that team. Miles Turner's getting better. I like Indiana.
5th seed, I got the Bucks.
I'll go with the Bucks too.
And then 6th seed, I got Pacers.
And then I'll put the Wizards there. So it's we switch there. Yeah.
7th seed, it's probably Heat.
Yeah, that's towards 7 and 8. I mean, you'll have a couple teams that will kind of be pushing. I think
the East is so bad that
yeah, I honestly believe Detroit can be the 7th seed if Reggie Jackson was hurt for most of their season last year. Blake Griffin didn't come along until later on. I think him and Drummond could be a good tandem. Reggie Jackson being there, Luke Kennard. I think that could be a solid team that slips into 7 or 8.
Yeah. Then my 8th seed, I got Cleveland.
And then 8, I'll put Miami.
Yeah, Cleveland just has role players that know how to win games.
Yeah, no, I mean, when LeBron left, I don't think they'll be as bad as some people think they will be. I think they'll be one of those teams that compete for that 8th seed.
There's worse starting lineup too. They got
for sure. Yeah.
Sexton, Korver. I don't know who their 3 was going to be. Thompson and Love.
Seti Osman, maybe.
Seti Osman.
But no, they have an all-star still in Kevin Love. Yeah. And Colin Sexton, I mean, he should be a stud. So no, that's a pretty solid team.
In terms of the West, I got the Warriors at
Warriors, yeah.
1. Rockets.
Rockets.
Thunder. And then this is like, I think those are like clearly top 3. But then here's, I don't know. I got Trailblazers again, maybe.
I'm gonna say Nuggets, and I'm saying that because I really think. Yeah, I really do think they can make a good playoff run this year. I think they're just, if everyone's healthy, like even if Michael Porter comes back, if he plays this year, like they got so much depth on that team. I think they can make a pretty solid run.
I mean, 3-9 last year was all within 3 games.
Yeah, it was all pretty close. So I mean, anyone could really grab that.
5th seed, I'll go Utah again.
I'll go Utah as well.
And the 6th seed, I'll go Denver.
6th seed, I'll go Lakers.
Oh right. Oh crap. I forgot about the Lakers.
Yeah, you have to remember.
I'll go Lakers at 6, and then whoever it is said.
At 7, I'll go Jazz as well.
And 8, I'll go Denver.
8, I'll go San Antonio.
The Lakers are like a team, one of those like, yeah, they got LeBron, yeah, they have like young talent, but I can't see them gelling till late.
Yeah, no, I don't think they won't. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll do anything in the playoffs unless they get lucky with a matchup, like with an injury or something. But honestly, I feel so bad for teams like the Pelicans or the Trailblazers, because like I don't think, like, New Orleans went from being, I think last year they were the 3rd seed at one point for a little bit, and now like they lost to Marcus Cousins and they might not even make the playoffs. Like the West is so stacked with just such good teams that should make the playoffs or would make the playoffs in the East, like easily aren't even going to make the playoffs in the West. It's insane.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I don't see them going to that 1-16 playoff seed that everyone talks about. I like it'll even out eventually. Like
hopefully. Yeah.
But yeah, that wraps up the first episode. Check out our social medias. Our Twitter's at Benchwarmers Radio. Our Instagram's at Benchwarmers Radio. And then follow us on Twitter at Dante on Deck and Ty_Miller35. Again, we are presented by We the People Sports. I've started writing for them a lot more than I previously had, like especially basketball season come up.
I gotta get back on that now that the season starts. Like during the off season, like you have some things to talk about, but once the season starts and you can start doing recaps and talking about what's going on, it's much easier. So I'm excited to get back into that.
This episode, you're probably listening to it now. It'll come up on Thursday, but normally I think we're going to shoot for Wednesday.
Yeah, we had a little scheduling conflict this week, but usually Wednesdays would be our days.
Yep, season starts next Tuesday.
Get hyped.
We'll definitely have some opening night talk to talk about that night, and we will see you guys next week.
Peace out.